Elon investors have some big choices to make. And I say Elon investors because a lot of folks who own Tesla shares, who are invested in the Tesla company, are really invested in the CEO himself. If they could buy shares of SpaceX, of the Boring Company, of XAI, they would. But those are very restricted as to who can purchase them and how. But now we're looking at this big choice. Are we going to vote to give him more money? What does he need it for? Is that any of our business? I would argue it is not, but that is not the question. We're going to go over some headlines discussing this historic pay package and whether or not he actually deserves it. When I say we, I mean me, my tapeworm, and Randy Kirk. The three of us will discuss it in full. I'm Brian. Welcome to Futurasa.
Hello, Brian.
Hello, Randy.
Hello, tapeworm.
And, oh, you can't hear it. So we are going to start with this little, I was looking through headlines, as I do all day, every day. I've had people ask me, so how much research do you do? And I said, dusk till dawn, baby. First thing I do in the morning, the last thing I do at night, and all day in between, everywhere. And I use news aggregators so that I don't get trapped in a bubble. And as a result, I get to see some real gems out there like these. These four headlines are what we're going to be discussing. The Atlantic. Why Tesla thinks Elon needs more money. Needs is a strong word, but all right. Wall Street Journal. Why Tesla's board wants to make it rain for Elon Musk. Great. New York Times. Tesla board chair defends Elon Musk's enormous pay proposal. And Semaphore, with a rare bit of wisdom here, of actual knowledge. And I don't mean rare for them, I mean rare for this group. View, Elon Musk pay deal is a better model for CEO compensation. So it's not all bad news, guys. We do have a silver lining. And you know what they say about stealing? Every crowd has a pilfer lining. I'm pretty sure that's how it goes.
That's got to be it, yes.
That's got to be it. Guys, this coming Sunday, October 12th, I'm going to be in Plymouth Orchards for a meet and greet. Join us, won't you? You can just show up or RSVP at Tesla Owners of Michigan's website. I think it's Tesla MI. I don't know. Tesla Owners of Michigan. You can look it up. And then it looks like I'm going to be at Cyberfest and Furious in Florida. Cyberfest is back, bigger, faster, and wilder. Last year, it was all off-road tracks, off-road courses, climbing hills of dirt and all that. Florida's very flat, not a lot of hills. This year, it's going to be at a speedway with drag racing and figure eight. Not figure eight loaded with cars so you can play the bonky bonks and do some demolition derby. No, it'd be, one at a time kind of thing. Light show, DJ concert, Cybertruck display show, awards, all that good stuff in Clearwater, Florida, basically Tampa. Join us, won't you? Very stressful life I'm living here, Randy. I don't know what's
horrible.
going on.
It's just, just traveling your royal rear end off. Yes.
Yes. Why Tesla thinks Elon needs more money. Oh, so first of all, can you come up with a more biased headline than that?
Yeah, probably.
I think I could. I might need to grok it. For a few precarious hours last week, Elon Musk reportedly lost his title as the world's richest man. Does he care?
Probably not, but it has repaired. That problem has been replaced with a different one. Yeah.
Larry Ellison, the mustachioed yachtsman. Boy, we are on a roll today. Behind the software giant Oracle, got to wear that crown for almost a full business day before Musk's wealth inched up yet again, eclipsing Ellison's 383 billies by a sliver. Do you eclipse by a sliver? That's not a very good eclipse, by the way.
Yeah.
Phew. Luckily for Musk, the board of directors already has a plan to keep its man on top for good and make him a trillionaire in the process. So I'm certainly not going to subscribe to read this wet mess. By any metric, an obscene amount of money. And it's curious at a time when the famously mercurial CEO's attention seems to be everywhere but Tesla. Any takeaways on that before we move on to the next bit of nonsense?
Boy, I've got about a half an hour's worth of takeaways, but I will just say that this is basically this individual, spoke a lot and used some very clever sentence construction and some nice words, big words even sometimes, but they don't have any understanding, zero understanding of what's going on with regard to Elon and Tesla and the shareholders. This is 100% about control of a percentage of the stock and about how to manage their unique in the world, maybe ever, employee.
Um, I can't speak to the uniqueness. I don't have the qualifications to do that. I can tell you that there's no one else like him today. Where is the second one? In China? Well, you said maybe ever.
Ever, yeah, yeah.
I would argue, I don't know, maybe a Rockefeller or a Carnegie or a Ford.
Gone back and done the numbers. And if I actually had Grok run the numbers, no, he would be ahead of the Rockefellers and the Carnegies. Now there's Solomon, that's another issue, and maybe the folks that started the Far East Tea Company, and I've done a
Yes.
little bit of analysis of that also. They had more employees, but I think we can say that in terms of the breadth and if you take the whole package, which is, of course, you may remember I wrote this book called The Elon Musk Method. If you take the entire package, having all of the characteristics that he does all in one human being, I don't think that's been done before.
The ability to attract talent is like nothing we've seen outside of wartime efforts. I guess the space race would be perhaps would maybe beat Elon, but the first time racing to space is so exciting. You can attract all kinds of people, and they weren't getting rich building rockets for NASA. Well, it wasn't for NASA. NASA didn't build the rockets, but they did a lot of the design work. It's unique. It is, I will agree, unique. And his hit to miss ratio is, I would argue, second to none. It's very good. It's not 100%. If you drill down far enough, if you get into individual products, you might find some flops. Grok's image generation is not great. I don't hold that against XAI. It's one part of one product.
And
it's fine.
As somebody says all the time on these things, with regard to anything in the digital world, right now what you're seeing is the worst it's ever going to be.
Yes, and it's not like they're not working on it.
Yeah.
And I would say that X is, I know at one point they said they wanted to get into videos. It doesn't appear that that's on the roadmap today. And I understand why. That's yesterday's news. Specifically us, because we're recording this yesterday. What are we doing, man? So there are a lot of things there. And remember, guys, what we're talking about here is if you haven't voted your shares, maybe it's time to vote your shares. And I've said this before. If you love the guy and believe in him, of course you'll vote yes. But if you hate him and do not believe in him, you know what you should do? You should vote yes. Because then he'll do all this work for free. Could you imagine? That'd be great if,
he only gets the company up to worth 2.5 trillion or whatever the worst case would be. He only does 999,999 robots. He misses on everything and he doesn't get paid a cent and we get all the benefit. That could happen.
Stick it to the man. You can do it. So then we've got Wall Street Journal. Why Tesla's board wants to make it rain for Elon Musk. Now, I can tell you, I haven't been to one of those clubs where making it rain is a thing since my friend got married 20 years ago. And I can tell you the reason you make it rain is because when you whip out the nickels and make it hail, they frown upon that. In an interview, Tesla chair Robin Denholm suggests shareholders wouldn't like a future without the company's visionary leader. Do you agree with Robin?
I agree with Robin.
I do too. There are people who say, I will not buy Tesla until he is gone. And I say, yeah, but he'd still get the benefit. Would you really think, well, he'd have to divest. Okay. So you're not going to buy no matter what. Your opinion doesn't matter. Meanwhile, you and I know a lot of investors, big investors, people with more than 1,000, more than 5,000, more than 10,000 shares who would sell if Elon chose to depart. I think that would be a mistake on their part, but that's what they have assured me, and I have no reason to doubt. Thing Tesla's selling hardest these days is the idea that Elon Musk needs to be paid more. And the woman handed that sales job again is Robin Denholm, the chair of the electric car maker. She's already begun a campaign ahead of the November 6th shareholder vote on what could be $1 trillion pay package. I love that they use this number just because it's emotional.
Yes.
The reality is it won't cost Tesla that. And if he hits all the milestones, it'll be worth a lot more than $1 trillion.
A lot more. On the order probably of 2.5, according to CERN Basher.
I haven't looked at CERN's numbers. That certainly sounds right. That sounds like what it would be. Because if you hit all those milestones, it means that half of those milestones you blew past by a mile.
Well, and 25% of 8 trillion, if he has 25% of the shares and it's 8 trillion, that would be 2 trillion right there.
Yeah. And it'd be 28%. So, yeah. And is it 8 or 8.5? At any rate, it's a substantial amount of money. And for what do you need 8.5 trillion? Well, you could say Mars. I disagree with that. I believe that the Mars missions will be funded by the agencies and companies benefiting from it. Along the way, it'll be paid for. So what do you need that money for? None my business.
Yeah. I think what we can assume without knowing for sure, but based on what do we have now, a 30-year history of how Elon operates in the world, is that the money will stay in the stock and the company will continue to grow, and he will just continue to, he's not going to sell the shares because he doesn't want to lose control. He doesn't need to sell the shares in order to support his lifestyle, because his lifestyle is a home of, I think, fewer square foot than mine is.
Less than mine. Well, and my household has more cars than his.
That's right.
But I'm living large off those YouTube fractions of pennies. Yes. Well, the only expense he has that's outrageous is security.
Yeah, but he doesn't pay that. That's paid separately, and his jet is going to be paid for by the companies based on where he's going at any given time. So he basically doesn't have much out-of-pocket expense. I think probably his biggest out-of-pocket expense is charitable giving, and even that I think he does within his trust.
He definitely does that within the trust. By the way, the trust is way behind where it's supposed to be on charitable giving. That's not a big highlight. Whoever's running the trust should be actually dispersing the funds. They should legally they need to do that. At any rate, this article weirdly negative. You would think Wall Street would be more in love with it. What's weird to me is the Wall Street Journal and the New York Times kind of agree. I don't know when I've seen that happen before. Tesla board chair defends Elon Musk's enormous pay package. Oh, I guess, yeah. Robin Denholm, normally media shy, is campaigning to get shareholders back the CEO's $1 trillion compensation plan. Most executives who presided over sinking sales and profit. Hey, how'd this quarter go? I didn't check.
Yeah, it seems to me that it's no longer sinking sales, and I am projecting 75 cents in profit, which would be about double last quarter. So
we saw huge deployments of energy, which we know has a fantastic margin. We saw the largest ever quarter for sales and for deliveries, and without huge discounts and incentives. So, but this was September 12th. So, I mean, we can't expect them to know what you and I already knew on September 12th, because these jokers do not watch our channels. Jack, watch my channel.
Yeah, no kidding.
You won't look quite as silly. Elon, the CEO of Tesla, could instead receive the largest package in history. Putting together any comp plan, you need to look at what motivates the individual you're trying to motivate. And for Elon, it's doing things that no one has done before. I would agree. I would agree that there is probably nothing professionally that gives him more joy than accomplishing that which he has been assured cannot be done at tremendous profit.
Yeah, yeah. I think he's like most entrepreneurs. The real goal here is to fill human needs. Uh, I actually had a conversation with a young student, one of my excuse me, one of my wife's students yesterday, who was wanted to ask an entrepreneur questions, and he says, well, what's the motivation? I said, well, the smart entrepreneur's motivation is filling a need that human beings have. And if you do that well, then you're going to make money. Wanting money is the worst motivation you can ever have. And yet that's how a lot of people, when they look at entrepreneurs, they think, oh yeah, they're just money grubbers. They just want to make a lot of money. No, you gotta hit those human needs in order to get the money. It's reversed. It's the opposite of what people think.
When Tony Robbins set out to write a book about what makes a millionaire back in the 80s, I guess it was. He was expecting, caviar lifestyle and champagne wishes and all that. And what he found was down to earth people who were pretty focused and pretty real. And of course, this will probably not surprise you, so I'll let you guess. What was the most common vehicle owned by millionaires?
The most common vehicle. That's pretty funny. I wonder. By millionaires
in the 80s, 90s.
In the 80s and 90s. I'm going to guess a Mercedes.
F-150.
F-150. Interesting.
They're practical. Practical. I got houses, I got work, I got stuff to do, man. F-150. In effect, Tesla's board is arguing that Mr. Musk is a unique human being who responds only to otherworldly challenges matched by otherworldly compensation. So I get that you're being a snarky jerk, but yes, I think that's correct. In the filing, the board said benchmarking his pay against the compensation of other executives, as is customary, would be irrelevant. Yes, no risk, no reward. High risk, high reward. And by the way, Mary Barra has no risk and what I would call extreme reward. No possible downside. Your worst paycheck's going to be what, 10, $12 million?
Right.
$1 million. You make 30 grand a day, even on your days off.
Right.
Come on. And you don't have a criticism for that? For GM's absolute. Okay. Miss Denholm, occasionally appearing ill at ease. I'm gonna end our coverage of this story there because that's just too dumb. Too dumb. This plan is about past performance, future performance, not about past performance. He gets nothing if he doesn't perform against the goals.
Yeah, you and I have both talked about it before. We've both been commissioned reps. I think we've both been waiters. There's nothing better in my way of thinking. There's nothing better than being paid based on performance. It is motivating. It is also fun to get your numbers. We're both paid on performance now. We talk about it from time to time. How did I do last month? How were my YouTube views? How was my income from YouTube channel? We don't get paid unless we perform, literally perform.
Yeah. So last one here. Let's flip the script. Let's talk some good news. Semaphore. Elon Musk pay deal is a better model for CEO compensation. Roughly $1 trillion in Tesla shares if he hits otherworldly milestones over the next decade has become the subject of intense debate. But while 13 figures may be a bit high, the compensation is different in one important way. It's linked to the long term. Most public CEOs are compensated on short-term metrics, a well-documented problem. And compensation for CEOs, which has skyrocketed, rewards failure in addition to success. Do you remember how much Peter Rawlinson was paid while his company, Lucid Motors, was sinking? Hundreds of millions of dollars. Where was the criticism?
Yeah,
I get it. If you've got a strongly held belief, but you don't apply it universally, you are one entire clown college at that point. It's like the Dawn Project, so angry at all things that FSD does while giving a complete free pass to the actual accidents, the actual injuries of Waymo and other autonomous players. The dishonesty is just breathtaking. Bigger rewards for real, long-term success and severe disincentives for failure make more sense. Yeah. So Musk is both an asset and a liability, sure. Even the Pope had criticism for Musk's pay package and the wealth it would afford him, says the guy living in what is essentially a gilded shopping mall. I don't know. I don't know if the Catholic Church is the right ones to criticize about hoarding wealth over the impoverished. But why is this? We'll wrap it up with this. Why is this the best way to pay a CEO?
Well, again, now you're talking about different CEOs. So let's talk about, a CEO for a company with 50 or 100 employees might be a completely different story because that individual may not already have millions of dollars in the bank. But if the CEO's basic, and I used to do this with salesmen when I would hire them, I would say, what do you need to cover your basic needs? I do want to make sure you make that much because I do not want you worried about it. So if your basic needs are covered, if you can pay for your rent, your mortgage, whatever it is, your car, you've got all that covered, then now let's talk about what's going to really get you excited. And in this particular case, that's exactly what they've done. What's going to get Elon Musk excited? And for most CEOs, that's who you'd want if you're talking about a major company and somebody who's already made probably millions in their life, because if they haven't, they're not going to be considered. So if they've already got that kind of income, that kind of wealth, what's going to get them excited? What's going to get them out of bed in the morning? And, I sometimes wonder this about some of the the athletes, that have already made 100 million or, they got a contract for the next 5 years. What gets them up out of bed in the morning?
Yeah.
Self-motivation. A lot of people do have that. I'm sure that you're one. I know I'm one that's self-motivated. But there's other things everybody still gets motivated by. And if you can find that out, use it.
Yes. For me, it's easy, Randy. I have a shock collar that I put on right before I go to sleep, and that gets me out of bed.
That's what gets you out of bed.
Yeah. Yeah. So what I'm seeing is, and you can tell me how crazy I'm thinking here, when you've got a company that's chasing next quarter, are you necessarily motivated to build bridges or plant trees if all you care about is next quarter?
Generally speaking, no. And the motivation all gets all twisted around when you're only talking about the short term.
Many CEOs do not have an emotional connection the way a founder would. Mm-hmm. To a founder, it is their baby. Mm-hmm. They grew this from a sapling or from a seed into the mighty oak. And if you're going to be pruning, you need to do so in a sustainable way. And if you're not looking at this is a pump. Elon's just trying to pump it. Guys, he can't sell. He has to, first of all, it'll take years to hit the first milestone, the first tranche to be eligible. Those metrics have to sustain. The market cap has to sustain for a period of time. Then the award is eligible. And if he exercises that award, he cannot sell it for a period of time. If you're going to call something a pump and dump, you have to understand first that is a legal term that has a legal definition. Maybe go look it up. But you have to do something to artificially pump the stock, artificially being the key. Just saying we had a good sales quarter, here's the numbers, is not artificial. That's real. Just saying we released a new car and they did, that's not artificial.
Even if you say FSD is coming out next week, and you believe that that is not pumping. That is your honest belief at the time.
Yes. And then you have to dump. You have to actually do the dump part of the pump and dump. Mm-hmm. If you're just saying it's going good, things are going good, I hope that's what the CEO says. If the CEO comes out and goes, this place, I don't know, man, which, happens from time to time. We've seen Elon come in and say, we
Right.
really need to trim costs, or, this is going in the wrong direction. But he's not saying it and then throwing his hands up and going, well, if only somebody could. No, he takes the action, he makes the corrections. I think that's sufficient. Guys, head over to Randy Kirk's channel, find out what he's up to. Rumor has it he's got a new book coming out, and rumor has it I helped with a portion of writing it, along with some other genius folks whose names you will definitely recognize because they're all friends of mine, friends of yours. And I think everyone in the book has been on both of our channels.
I think that would be
I think
100%
that's
true.
true. So, guys, what did I miss? What did I misunderstand? Leave it in the comments below. Stay tuned and juicy, and come find me at one of my many events that I do, and let's have some fun.